We're just a couple of days away from the Border Gavaskar Trophy to begin, and there's a lot of big players involved, not just in the Indian camp but in the Australian camp as well. But one player in the Indian camp who's raring to go and has been preparing for this humongous challenge ahead of him is Cheteshwar Pujara, and in many ways he's given away what you really need as a team, as a group of individuals. What is it that you need when you're playing against a fiery Australian side? Yes, you could argue that they look depleted at the moment, but the thing with any Australian side, especially a visiting side, and remember, this is a hurt Australian side as well, because they've not been able to win the Border Gavaskar Trophy for its last 3 editions, which have belonged to India, 2 of which happened, the last 2 in fact happening in Australia, and losing in Australia, from the victory in Gabba to everything that happened over the last 2 tours for India in Australia. Well, the Australian side wouldn't have forgotten that. And Cheteshwar Pujara knows what's coming his way in terms of this huge challenge that the Australian side possesses. He's gone ahead and talked about what his preparation for the series is like, and what as a unit you need to do to be able to breach this huge challenge that Australia bring with themselves. So without wasting any time, let's quickly dive into what exactly Cheteshwar Pujara has said. Cheteshwar Pujara, well, talking about what this Australian side brings to the table and how you face an Australian side which is absolutely pumped up with the likes of David Warner, with the likes of Steve Smith as well in the ranks. What is it that you need to do to be able to breach that? Well, he says that I feel that Australia is always a tough team to beat, and they are competitive on the field across any conditions, and that goes without saying. That Cheteshwar Pujara highlighting here that Australia are a tough team to handle, and no matter where they are, they may not be at home right now, but wherever they travel, they are obviously always a force to reckon with. Continuing from where he left off, he said that they will always come at you, and to come over it, you need to be mentally tough and you need to have that fighting attitude. So Cheteshwar Pujara talking about the fighting attitude that you need when you're playing against an Australian side, which by the way is always throwing those verbal volleys that you remember. It could be that Tim Payne, Rishabh Pant verbal volley that we saw, or the many times we saw David Warner have a go at a young Siraj. So you know, all of these things play in the minds of the Indian team, and Cheteshwar Pujara feels that you need to be ready mentally to be able to counter that challenge, because Australia are going to come hard at you in all departments, he says. So even when they're not, let's say, batters like, you know, Steve Smith and their other senior players for that matter, you know, they're always going to be, you know, prodding you to do something or the other, and they're going to be nudging you in the field. The likes of Steve Smith, David Warner, Pat Cummins, you know that what they bring to the table, you know, even when they're not, let's say, actively involved in their skill set, they will be nudging you with a thing or two, and for that you need to be mentally ready. But for Cheteshwar Pujara, this also is a series wherein he's looking for some sort of redemption, let's not forget, because he didn't really have a very good series last time around when India in 2020-2021 had toured Australia. He didn't manage a lot of runs. There wasn't a single century that he scored. He does pose you know, good numbers against Australia, because he averages 54, and that's because early in his career he did score big runs against them. There is, remember, 5 centuries that he scored against Australia, 2 of which are daddy double hundreds as well. He got close with about 193 on another occasion, and those are the kind of numbers that he possesses. He is absolutely fired up for this particular series, and while talking about his preparation, he also talked about the fact that he is approaching his 100 test as well. We'll talk about the 100 test, but since we've just touched upon what his preparation looks like, let's just quickly show you a visual as well of the time that Cheteshwar Pujara was practicing. So he said that, you know, he's been in that zone for a while now. He's been looking forward to the series, and the visual that you have on your screens right now, well, that's of a training session that Pujara had organized for himself. He was in Rajkot ahead of the team camp which took place in Nagpur and is presently underway as we speak. Cheteshwar Pujara was seen practicing and he's put out this image on Twitter as well. So Cheteshwar Pujara has been awaiting this challenge for a while, and as any player, especially when you're playing the test format and you're playing at that level, you want a tough competitor, and Australia, he feels, is that team against which that you want to make a point and you want to do your absolute best. So he's been training for a while now, and he was asked as to how he feels, because he's going to be playing his a landmark game in many ways, which is going to be his 100th test. It will happen in Delhi, and Cheteshwar Pujara, needless to say, is going to be that player who is going to be in the playing 11. So Delhi is where he will be making that landmark appearance and playing his 100th test match. But ahead of the test match, let's tell you what he feels on reaching that landmark. He says that it's been a great journey so far and it is a special feeling to be able to play 100 tests. In recent times, you only saw Virat Kohli reach that landmark from an Indian perspective, and now you see Cheteshwar Pujara again closing in on that 100 tests. He goes on to say that probably this is the best time of my cricketing career where I have enough experience and at the same time I'm able to explore a lot more in my batting. So big comment there when he says that he feels he's in the right space and he's enjoying, for him it's the best time in his cricketing career, because yes, he was amongst the runs of late. He did manage some runs in county as well. Last year wasn't that great for him, or rather 21 when he was dropped, but he's managed to make a comeback of sorts. And Cheteshwar Pujara comes with a certain reputation of playing those marathon innings and being that Mr. Dependable that India have looked forward to or have always turned to whenever the team are in trouble. He averages just about 44 in test cricket, but against Australia his averages just jumps to 54 and he relishes playing against the Aussies. And as we told you, not only is he excited for his 100 test match, he is also fired up for an Australian side which is always fiery, and he feels that this is going to be a great contest between two nations that are absolutely on top of their game, and you really can't pick a winner at the moment. But Cheteshwar Pujara, with all the preparation that he's done, he feels that as a unit all you need is that fighting spirit when you're tackling somebody like an Australia. We hope you liked this video, and in case you did, do let us know in the comments section what you have to say about Cheteshwar Pujara's presence in the team and what he brings to the table. Can he in fact be the difference maker? Let us know in the comment section. For now, thank you so much for watching this video.